ultimately, what would be cool is to see a kid go from like 8 and go through the whole RTC, and then eventually, get good enough to end up here at SIUE and compete for us, and then that builds your fan base from the surrounding area, and that's really what we're trying to do overall. Just trying to build that foundation. Once that foundation is laid, which has already been laid before, but continuing to grow it and build it, and eventually it runs itself.
Daryl Thomas, associate head coach of Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. Now, do you still retain the associate head coach now that you're associate head
Yeah.
coach with the intention of taking over as head coach next year?
Yep. So still associate head coach this year. Coach Bates is still the head coach this year, and then in April 1, 2026 is when it officially makes the switch over.
Got it. Cool. How's preseason going, or preseason, the start of season? How the last few months been for you?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been a good start to the season. We got a lot of data from these first couple weekends. We went to the Clarion Open week 1, and had a good showing out there. Finished third overall with some really good teams: Cornell, Ohio State, and Clarion was there. A lot of MAC teams and some of Cornell's like gray shirt team. So it was a good competition. We showed well, and then followed it up with another good showing at the Iowa State Invitational, where I think we had 9 place winners in the first weekend, and then 10 at Iowa State Invitational, where you could all the teams could bring 20 athletes. So it was 3 Big 12 teams, a Big 10 team, and us. So Wisconsin, Utah Valley, Iowa State. Um, and what am I missing? Cal Baptist and SIUE.
Nice. And yeah, so that tournament's just a good, like, is it someone who was saying that it's kind of like a lot of wrestle offs happen because you bring 2 of the guys and see how they work out just to get started for the season. Is that
Yeah,
how you guys used it?
yeah. We used it as we just in the past we've started with a dual meet, like we'd wrestle Illinois, we'd open up with Illinois or somebody else, and we just felt like this year we had a lot more depth, and kind of wanted to do it through wrestle or not do it through tournaments, kind of figure out who our guys are through tournaments and get results from that versus doing it through a wrestle off. Felt like it kind of keeps guys engaged longer, allows your depth to continue to compete, guys continue to get better, and at the end of the day, you want to be winning against high level competition, not against your own
Yeah.
teammates.
Do you think that entire strategy maybe helps out a lot more when it comes to internal conflicts, the social aspect of the team?
That's a great point. Yeah, I really do because sometimes you hate to say it, but sometimes you can lose a guy if they lose a wrestle off in the beginning of the year. Mentally, they just emotionally they kind of lose a little bit of their pop and their effort and will a little bit. And so when you do it through competition, it allows them to really kind of try to raise their level, continue to get better, continue to try to do things right. Both guys, you kind of take it out of the coach's hands where you put a little pressure on them, a little bit of peer pressure rather than coach pressure. So
Yeah.
I think it just allows you to keep guys engaged longer, throughout the season. And ultimately, they come here to compete, and they just want an opportunity to compete and show what they can do against the competition.
Yeah. I like that. I actually, I don't think I've ever thought about it other than just now because it's a recent concept that people are going to start doing, I think, with these early tournaments. But yeah, it has to be some type of added benefit that there's not chatter going on. Who won the wrestle off? Who's winning in the room? It's like really, it doesn't even matter who wins in the room. It's like who's going to compete at that tournament the best, and who's going to put the team in the best position to get team points at the MAC tournament, dual meets, and then the nationals. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean ultimately to get to the national tournament, you got to beat some guys that are ranked and ahead of you or on paper better than you. And so if that's the case anyway, let's go see how many guys can go do that.
Yeah. And so, that brings up like, that's a good problem to have. So that means that you got a full roster. And so is this something, have you guys always had like, I forget how long have you been there, but how long has the roster been full, and is it getting easier to have competition within the lineup now?
Yeah, so this is my 5th season here. I got here in November of 2022, but it's year 5, or was it 21 or 22? I can't remember now.
Well,
But
21 would be
yeah,
going
yeah,
into the 5th year.
yeah, yeah. So, but when I first got here, we had a roster cap of 26, and that's really, really difficult to have depth. Um, there was like some Title IX stuff going on where they dropped the women's program. So anytime that happens, it triggers like a Title IX investigation. And so we got through all that, and then now with the new roster rules, with revenue share and all that stuff, it actually helped us. So we got more roster spots. So now we're at the full 30, which is still, you'd like to be a little bit higher, but it allows you to be 3 deep at every weight class. And so yeah, we're full at 30. When I first came, we had to figure out some ways to combat that roster of 26, and do like an RTC program, to just have guys ready if injuries happen at any given time. You got 4 or 5 guys out for different reasons.
Yeah.
So just tried to find a way to get around it within the rules, and make sure we had what we needed to have the right competition and depth in our room.
Yeah. Well, another component of that is just recruiting in general. And, I think for the longest time, obviously SIUE was a program and it was existing, and there's been talk about it for a long time, but it really seems that some things are happening when it comes to in-state recruiting and getting some talent to kind of check it out. So, can you just talk about the, what type of success you guys are having with that, and what do you think is attributed to people kind of changing their tune?
Well, I just, for me, when I came, Spates kind of allowed me to take over in recruiting. And for me to be in the state of Illinois, it just made all the sense in the world, obviously, to recruit our home state first. And then from there, branch out. Obviously, we want to try to get the absolute best possible kids we can from Illinois. And I know we have a lot of really high end talent. But then, when we maybe don't have opportunities to get that talent, we have the ability to go wherever we need, whether it be Missouri, Wisconsin, go, somewhere else far away. We got Florida, we have California on our roster. So what's really nice about SIUE is it's a public school, but we only have one cost. Like, there's only in-state tuition. So all 50 states are in-state tuition. So that really helps. But first and foremost, we want to stay at home and attack Illinois kids. So I can actually talk about them now, but we just were able to add another Illinois kid with our 2026 class, and Jason Hampton from JCA. So excited to add him. And we're not done with this class yet. There's some guys that are still floating out there trying to figure out what they want to do. If they want to chase that big dream, or if they want to come here and try to do the same things, or more, with more focus on them and development for them. So there's still some other Illinois guys we're working on, and we want them to know that this is a place they can go and get the same results they would get if they went to the University of Illinois or Northwestern.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of that, so let's just jump in this weekend. Yeah. November 15th. I believe you guys are wrestling Northwestern. Has this been on the schedule, or is this a new duel?
No, well, for this year, we kind of mix it up a little bit. Generally, we wrestle Illinois quite often, but this year we got Northwestern coming in this Saturday. It's cool to be able to bring a Big Ten team to our home gym in First Community Arena, and it'll be a good duel. It'll be a lot of tight, hotly contested matches. We're excited for it. Our guys are really excited for it, and hoping to just put on a good performance and show really well against them.
And in addition,
Excited to get a former teammate, BJ Futrell, back down here too.
Yeah. Well, look at that. That's a trio. We all know each other pretty well.
Yep.
So also this weekend you guys also have a kids tournament, right?
Yeah. So through our regional training center, we host our SIRTC Open in the fall, and then last year we did for the first time we did it in the spring, and it was a huge success. So yeah, we have a kids open. What is it? I don't know, 7 to 14. This weekend we got about 250 kids registered right now. So we'll leave the mat down Saturday night, get 3 more set up, and have a kids tournament on Sunday.
That's great. And just, how is the like the youth feeder programs, and like what's the wrestling dynamics down there right now?
Yeah, it's
Obviously,
really
we following the sport. We know there's some good Southern Illinois kids, a couple of state champs from last year, and a couple ranked high up there. But yeah, what's your view of it?
it's really good, and I think we got a good relationship with a lot of them. A lot of them support our RTC. We have I guess you could say like a lower level piece to our RTC where kids come and train as well, and so just always trying to build that and continue to bridge that gap and trying to have really our goal with the RTC is to help all of Southern Illinois and the St. Louis metro area get better and have a place where everybody can come and train together and try to get the best possible kids together in the room as much as we possibly can with high level coaches. Not just our college staff, but you also have Pat McNamara, who's a three-time All-American at Michigan State. He's the Edwardsville Wrestling Club coach. You got Sarah Doty. She was a multiple-time women's college All-American. She's the head of the women's side for Team Illinois. So we've got a really good staff down here and good coaches that want to pour into the whole area and continue to make it better.
That's great. It's awesome too that you guys have. It seems that there's a lot of support amongst each other down there, right? So you guys
Yeah,
collaborate with those guys, with the people who are part of the kids programs and stuff like that.
absolutely.
Do you guys use the it's called the John Davis Center,
Mhm.
right? Do you guys use that at all, or is that where just the Edwardsville
Yeah,
High
no,
School?
we do a couple practices a week there in the spring, and then we do a couple over at SIUE in the spring. So yeah, it's a collaboration, and again, it benefits all of Southern Illinois, all of the St. Louis metro area because you go 25 minutes and you're over in St. Louis. So yeah, it benefits everybody.
Yeah. So that's cool. I was thinking about we were talking about like how a lot of the colleges are putting on these events, these tournaments and stuff, and how what they could possibly become, if people contributed to them. Obviously, they're great opportunities for fundraising for you, but there's also the opportunity to get people in the stands to watch a dual meet, then become fans, then become, future athletes, and then, all around supporters of the program. So like having a good, like, event structure is probably pretty important to continue to grow like the brand of the program. Um, is there anything additional that you guys are working on down there?
Yeah, we're always trying to add. We started a casino night last spring as well, and just growing that. But yeah, it's always good to try to tie things together, make it a holistic approach. But like the weigh-ins for the tournament are going to be from 4 to 5, and then we wrestle Northwestern at 5 o'clock. So just trying to get all those kids to come and attend the dual meet. It's free, so weigh in and come watch a high level college dual meet. Pretty cool for an 8-year-old or 9-year-old to be able to see that, and then they get to go and compete the next day in the same gym. So that's pretty cool. And then yeah, ultimately, what would be cool is to see a kid go from like 8 and go through the whole RTC, and then eventually, get good enough to end up here at SIUE and compete for us, and then that builds your fan base from the surrounding area, and that's really what we're trying to do. Overall, just trying to build that foundation. Once that foundation is laid, which has already been laid before, but continuing to grow it and build it, and eventually it runs itself.
Yeah, we'll have to see in a couple of years when McNamara's son graduates. I believe he's
Yeah.
pretty good right now.
Oh yeah.
Um, well, yeah. So, what kind of just thinking about the current landscape of college wrestling and stuff. Obviously, it's kind of like it's a, it's a double-edged sword, right? At some points, it seems like there's a little bit of a fear for smaller programs, but just from your perspective, you're taking over the program. What type of opportunity do you see in the new landscape that can allow SIUE to kind of compete with traditional programs, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to the level of work that you want to put in and effort you want to put in to be relevant and stay relevant in this day and age, and get creative in the ways that you try to compete with those schools. So is there a gap? Sure, but just kind of control what we can control on our end, and that's our, the effort, the work that we put in, and the people that we come in contact with that want to continue to elevate SIUE wrestling and help take us to another level. And yeah, it's ultimately comes down to the people that we can find a way to impact, and then they find a way to impact us. And SIUE can be as great as people want it to be.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely figuring out a way to create more like interest and more conversation. Obviously, social media, I think, is just such a great piece of leverage for a smaller brand wrestling program to compete with bigger brands. It's just an opportunity that, you get a couple new recruits that opens the door up to hold a handful of different recruits, and then putting with wins and success, that perception gets to be heard by a lot of people. Now that it's easier now that you can do that, so that's pretty cool. I think you've been doing that, that's for sure. Because obviously, it's just like that. It's more aware. The SIUE program is putting themselves out there. I see it more. So
Yeah,
kudos to
yeah,
you
and
guys.
that was a big thing for me. Was just, yeah. I mean, a lot of people just didn't know what was here or what it could be like, and now you look at the signing day article, and a lot of them, their reasons for coming here was, it's a beautiful campus. The coaches are hungry to go to the next level. Great facilities. Like, you start to see those things, and then uh, even you may go after some bigger names, and they don't choose to come here, but they come and their eyes are open, and they might tell somebody else, hey, yeah, I went down there and checked it out. It was really nice. And it may help get the next person, or whatever it may be. But yeah, just like you said, raising awareness, getting the brand out there, elevating the brand to something that is that it's okay to come here and expect to do well, and have the expectations put on you when you come here. So that's still a process. There's still some growth and work to go there in terms of making sure people understand that. But that's what you sell every day with your story and the vision, and where I feel like we can take this place.
Yeah. So what other you got any other tournaments or big time duels that you're looking forward to? Obviously, in addition to
Yeah.
one of the Big Ten teams, Northwestern.
Kind of just first semester. So next weekend we got a good opportunity against Maryville University. They're a top 10 Division II program. Jarrett's and then one of our alumni, Cardi Wilson. He's one of their assistant coaches. So we know those guys well. We know that they know us well, and it'll be a good dual meet, and it'll be fun. And then Aurora University, uh, um, Perch is the coach up there. He's coming down. We got a connection with Kagan Calkins, one of our assistant coaches. He used to coach with him, and is a Izzy style guy. But they're coming down to wrestle us as well. So we got that, and then we have our home tournament, the Cougar Clash. That'll be December 7th on. It's a Sunday. You got a really good group of teams. You got Little Rock. You have SIUE, Little Rock. Illinois is bringing their full team. Missouri, um, Oklahoma, Northern Iowa. Missing one or two. Brown, and Northern Colorado. So it'll be a really good mix of teams and some good competition again, and just really trying to test our guys that first semester and try to go find some opportunities to really cement ourselves, in the conversation, to make sure we're putting ourselves in position to get to the national tournament, and then go from there. And then we go to Oklahoma for a try with Oklahoma, Duke, and Long Island University, and then Midlands. That kind of ends our first semester.
Nice. Yeah. So that's awesome. You get so that's your own tournament that you're hosting.
Yeah, it's the Cougar Clash, and Jeremy started it. I don't even know how long it's been now, 6 or 7 years. He's had it going. So it's usually like similar to the Iowa State Invitational, just a couple more teams. But it's continued to grow, continue to get better, and this year's probably the toughest it's been.
That's good. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, looking forward to it. We'll get to follow that. A lot of and yeah, you're bringing all those teams to you. That's pretty impressive too. So,
Yeah,
um, well, I guess Daryl, I just wanted to catch up with you, hear about the program. I know you got a lot of things going on, and I wanted to check in. I'm excited for the season, but excited for you going into this season and next season as well. Yeah. Anything else you got on your mind that you want to talk to the people about?
No, I appreciate the opportunity, obviously, to get on here and continue to share about SIUE wrestling. What you guys are doing is great for Illinois wrestling. I get to pop the podcast on whenever a new one pops on. So you and Masney and Mark, and then a couple of newer guys that I
Yeah,
got.
we're bringing on more. We're just trying to make sure that we can figure out a way to communicate who's out there competing, who where they sit. The rankings are fun for us because I think instead of we like to add the podcast to it to see how these guys, just talk about the kids, like see, who they wrestled and pull up matches, and it's been fun so far. So couple fans, and hopefully it helps you guys recruit. I mean, definitely keep guys a little bit. I mean, as you start to follow high school wrestling, and I can only imagine as a recruiter how challenging it is to like focus on the season, focus on your guys, focus on development, and then get out there and be like, okay, who are the best juniors and seniors and sophomores out there that we can kind of start. It's just challenging. So hopefully we can kind of figure out a way to make that process a little easier, get the opportunity to see athletes, hear about them, and know where they've been for a period of time. Because oftentimes you only hear about the top, but
Right.
there's a good 100+ athletes that could have opportunities if we just knew about them. So
Absolutely. I'll keep
well,
killing. Recruiting never ends.
Yeah, no, it never ends. But cool, Daryl. Thanks for coming on. We'll reach out later in the season and see how things are and talk then.
All right. Sounds good. Appreciate it.
See ya.